I survived. Okay. Maybe it's time now to finally put the review out. Hey guys, what's up? This is Chrisian here, and it's time for a new Eonic review. It's kind of more of a past review because basically I missed out on my opportunity to review these due to pandemic, working, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to try to blow through all of these as best I can. There might be multiple videos on them, and that's just because I don't want to overwhelm you with an entire, like, almost hour-long video, because last time I heard that that was not great. I do also want to put a disclaimer out here. This part of the review is not going to just be the minor bits they put in, like where it's reviewing the Bloody Hollow or anything like that. It's mostly going to be reviewing things that were added in through the packs that were actual changes. So before anybody goes in to question what DLCs I'm going through, I will name them. That way you can find them, and that way you can see if I have a better judge or if there are other people out there. Another also detail is that I won't be going over anything like guns or stuff like that in this DLC, and the reason why is because there are more extensive videos. Hell, there's better channels to go watch that stuff for, so I recommend if you're looking for guns, go to those channels. My best thing is I'm just trying to give you the feel of how I felt about these DLCs, especially since I had to play them all in one go. So let's go. Starting with the DLC I just want to get out of the way right now, which was basically the Designer's Pack / Arm Race. Okay, so since you're now on this part, let's quickly talk about the Arms Race and the Designer's Pack. This pack was added in November 2020. Basically, what it really was it was supposed to be the introduction to the second season pass. And that's basically what these videos are, is to overview the season passes, especially since this is going to be the first time that's not a fighting game where there's a season 2 to a game. Where, I hate to say it, the live service on this one actually makes sense. Fuck you, EA. Fuck you, all the other companies. Even though they've done shady things, this is still a really cool thing because Borderlands has never really had anything pass. Yeah, we had the DLCs that were based around the holidays, but I don't count those. Those were mini DLCs. These are going to be more expansive. If you really think about it, these two DLCs that were added, that were jointed basically at the hip, are basically an example of what I just mentioned, the holiday DLCs. And to start off with, we're actually going to go over the aesthetic and new gameplay things that they added before we go over Arms Race, which the first thing they added was the new skill trees. Here's my thing. Before I get into these skill trees, would I have rather had a new Vault Hunter? If I'm being honest, yes. I'd rather have more Vault Hunters because that adds more variety to the game instead of just seeing the same, I want to say playthroughs or same like metas where people are only playing certain characters this way. At least with another character, you can kind of change it up. You can play multiple routes. It's one of the reasons I like pre-sequel. I like the second game because me and SK could play Krieg with Commando, or we could play Jack with Aurelia. It didn't matter. It was basically those kind of setups are what I liked because you could play two different characters and see a difference in your gameplay style and have different results. But I will say, I do like the additions of the new skill trees because they basically fix a lot of the issues that a ton of the Vault Hunters have. And overview, honestly, if these are what we're going to constantly get from the Vault Hunters, I want these. I actually think the next time they do another one, I would love another skill tree. Under one circumstance, they need to raise the level cap. I think it was stupid to give us this new skill tree without a level cap increase. Because, as one of my coworkers said, it is difficult to go into that new tree when your build is already done. And you don't know what else to take because you don't have any more points and you don't want to respec. So I can see from what two sides are talking about. There's people who've already put points into their builds and they don't want to change anything. But then there's people like me and SK who love trying out new, unique things and unique builds because it did change things. I love my Amara now because of this. And that's basically what I'm going to get into. So to start off with, we're going to basically overview each tree. Starting off with Amara because she is the character I played the most, and I felt out of all of the characters, she got the most benefit from her skill trees because her skill trees finally increased one of her playstyles. Originally, Amara wasn't too melee focused. She had 4, I believe, melee points, basically, melee things in her trees. Now she has a more dedicated melee tree, which is so much better. Because you look at her and she's supposed to be the melee character of the team. I mean, that's obvious. But she only had 4. Compared to characters like Zero, Brick, Krieg, Athena, like all these characters who had more melee in their kit than she did on base game. That's pathetic. So I appreciated that they gave her this. The other thing I appreciate is that they gave her the ice element. The ice element adds more options for her. Yes, the shock element is still her best choice due to the siren tree where you can increase shock, but ice at least increases melee damage. So if you pick it, you can increase your melee damage. I still say shock is the better build for her, but that's just because of that one augment. They could easily fix that augment by making more augments that increase the elemental choices of the trees you pick. But even still, I love a lot of the choices they made for her tree because it goes into them listening to complaints that many people had about these characters and trying to fix some of the issues. That's one of the reasons I say there should be another tree, because then you'll have a 5th tree to basically say, all right, here's some more fixes that these characters could use, and let's see what everyone thinks about it. Next up is Zane. Now, Zane got 2 amazing things. The first thing is that his new tree really focuses on his speed demon build. And for SK, he loves this because that's his favorite build. He loves being a goddamn speed demon, where he can actually run faster than the cars in the game. Just understand how stupid that is. But the biggest change they gave to Zane was they gave him the shoulder-mounted cannon. Now, compared to all the characters in the game, the reason Zane needed this more than any character is that Zane did not have access to action skill end. I'm going to repeat that again. He didn't have action skill end. The reason why is because Zane usually had all of his skills up, and they would recycle, and they would repeat, and everything. So it never actually ended, if you think about it. Where now he had access to action skill end. Hell, that actually increased so much of his build potential now. There's things that he can do with the laser that made so many possibilities for Zane. That's what you can do to improve a character. I've seen Zane's melt characters because of this laser. And I've also seen that I believe one of his skill trees is now increased, or his class mods is increased because of this laser. So I like a lot of the decisions they made on Zane. They basically fixed him by giving him a much better augment or special, basically. Flak, okay, I understand what happened with Flak. Basically, they couldn't buff Flak anymore because of how badly they buffed him before. How strong Flak was before they did these DLCs tells you how strong Flak is now. But even still, they did want to at least increase some of his builds. The first thing they did is they increased his critical builds. That I like, because that gives, okay, he needs to focus on crits now. That's fine. Gorilla in the Mist also focuses on crits, so that's fine. Then he also increased his pet build, which his pet build wasn't as viable because with Flak not having the damage, you have to rely on his pet, and that makes the game harder for Flax because, well, your pet's doing all the damage, not you. So they gave him more to help the pet build and kind of help himself at the same time. So in truth, they really did help Flak as much as most people think they hurt Flak. The only downside is that his action skill sucks. Why would anybody use a gravity trap? He has 3 of the best action skills in the game, especially since one gets one augment and is even better. So why on earth would you pick a gravity trap that makes an enemy go bouncing up and down? Do you understand that this is a shooter? Do you know how hard it is to hit a fucking enemy that's bouncing up and down? But you know what? They basically knew that they couldn't buff Flak as much as they wanted. So I kind of see this as they gave him another tree, they gave him the buffs, but they made sure he couldn't have too much broken stuff. The last one is Mose, and this buff, I think, helped Moses get out of one of the problems that it had. Moses' biggest problem was that Iron Bear was basically, oh fuck, I'm gonna die, click. It wasn't even an action skill. Compared to everyone's in the game, that's all it was. So there was no reason to build an Iron Bear build because basically Iron Bear was your I'm gonna die, nope, okay. And it also made doing the build where Mose was the most threatening thing kind of not really worth it, because if you click Iron Bear, you're kind of fucked because all your damage disappears because you're an Iron Bear now. So what did they do? They said, fuck that, Iron Bear's now a pet. That's problem solved. If you were getting annoyed by the fact that Mose was having issues using Iron Bear, fuck it, Iron Bear's now Iron Cub. There you go. You can keep all the damage you wanted on Mose, and you also now can buff Iron Bear, or Cub in this case. There is one correction I want to make sure. I believe they fixed it, but Iron Cub had a very big problem with the fact of a lot of the buffs that were on Iron Bear would not transfer to Iron Cub. You had to be careful and read the effects to see which one's actually modified to Iron Cub. So that is one thing I wanted to mention. The other thing is that when Iron Cub came out, because we did actually try them out when they came out, Iron Cub was glitching to the point where it was not scaling to Mayhem. So if anybody who had played Iron Cub during Mayhem, that was why. So other than that, that's basically what it did for these four characters. It gave them more build variety. The issue is that the meta is still what the meta is. You can't fix that. That's what it is. And that's why I'm thinking either a new character would be useful or another skill tree. Just something so the meta gets shooken up, because it's kind of boring when everyone's playing the same builds. It's one of the reasons there are YouTubers out there who do challenges to make some builds at least viable. The next thing I want to talk about is I think they're skins body mods that they added to the game. Why is it taking Borderlands this long to add these? Oh my god, these are the best fucking things they've ever added, because they for once actually change your character's look. And let me say this right now, I love the background stories on all of these skins. I love the look of all of these skins. The only one I think that looks stupid is Flax, but that's because he takes his coat off. So you realize he's a really skinny robot. Other than that, I think that these are fucking amazing, especially since they add one other detail that I didn't realize until I put it on. It only changes your body. You can put the head on of the matching skin, or what I did, you can put on the body of your favorite skin and then put the head on of your favorite head and at least mix and match it, so you can make these skins look more unique. This needs to be more into Borderlands. I think this would be awesome if they keep adding stuff like these, because that's an amazing change. Why did it take them this long to figure out that these are actually skins? What they were adding was color mods. Please, add more of these. Thank you. Before I continue, let me quickly go into detail about their skins, just so that way everyone can see why I liked them. Starting off with Amara, I'm just going to quickly state she's Batman, basically. If you read into detail about her skin, basically she became the tiger and decided to take out vigilantes, even though everyone already knew her as the tiger, so, you know. Whatever, Amara is Amara. There's no answer for buts. But I love that it's a joke on Batman if you really look into it. So I love that. Zane's is funny as hell because he becomes Assassin 1. Basically, he is number 1. And there's no answer for buts. Well, except for Zane's butt. That's basically the most notable thing that everyone talks about. Yeah, you can really see his ass now. So, you know, have fun with your color mods on his ass. Flak, like I said, basically, they stripped away his jacket, which really shows that he is not really that bulky. But now the reason why is because he's more focused on information. He's the Grand Archivist now. He's focused on learning and basically trying to get more information now. He doesn't care about hunting. I would love it also as if you were in this skin and it would change his quotes to, instead of focusing on the hunt, focusing on intelligence. It's a tiny detail, but I would love that. The last one is probably the best skin out of all of them, which is everyone's favorite, Russian Moles, which is basically, I am Commander Moles and I'm going to fuck you up. I love this skin. I don't play Moles, and I 100% would be in this skin because it looks like the best designed skin, and I think it's probably the most detailed skin I've ever seen in Borderlands. Especially since, in truth, it doesn't really explain much unless you look into the details of basically this is what Moze would have been if she didn't leave. So I love these. So let's move on from something I love to something I couldn't get into, okay? I'm going to be brutally honest. And that's Arms Race. Basically, I hate to be the guy and say this, but Arms Race was not for me. Arms Race is not for SK. Arms Race was not for any of us. If you're into Battle Royale, fine. You can enjoy this. I do want to say I do like the one thing they did with Battle Royale. Everyone is doing Battle Royales where everyone is killing each other and I want to get the chicken or whatever the fucking thing, stupid thing it is. Why hasn't anybody ever thought of a co-op one? Like, seriously, why not? To me, this is fucking amazing. Instead of us battle royaling each other, the four of us are working together to take down something. That's smart. That is ingenious idea. It's not as great as Fall Guys, but, no one can beat Fall Guys. Those things are fucking adorable. But even still, I have to say right now that this is probably the most innovation we're going to have on Battle Royale until it's dead. And truthfully, I'm glad it came from Borderlands because it's the only one that, even though it dipped its foot into the Battle Royale genre, it's not as pretentious about it. The one thing I want to mention that's annoying is that the returning characters reappear, which is Axton and Salvador. Okay, I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible. I hate how they shoehorned these two in. I literally hate how they're shoehorned in. There was no reason to put Axton and Salvador in this thing. Like, no reason. You could have used Mr. Torg, you could have used any character in this game, and instead you use two characters who everyone was wondering where the fuck they are, and instead you use bullshit to bring them back. Fuck you. You could have used Axton for anything else. You could have used Salvador for anything else, and instead you put them behind this stupid shit. Fuck you. I'm sorry, no, that pissed me off, especially with the Easter egg in one of the DLCs for Salvador. Fuck you. Come on, man. One of the best qualities about this DLC is the guns. It gives us brand new guns. It gave us brand new grenades, class mods. Actually, one of the things about the class mods is that it gives you the access to all of the Purple Trees class mods, which are basically the new Trees class mods. I will say that that is annoying because, I don't like playing this mode, but then again, the purple class mods aren't the ones I want anyways, so But it's still stupid that they're locked here. But give it time. I have a feeling once more DLCs come out, there will be more class mods later. But even still, this is kind of it. I mean, my worst quality about this DLC is it's a battle royale. I'm not a fan of it. SK's not a fan of it, so yeah, we kind of played it and we were done. We didn't really want to play it again. There was no fucking reason. I'm not going to beat this up anymore. I'm just going to say, comparably between all the DLC that came out in this pack, that was the weakest part of the pack, which was the arms race. I think that being added is fine, but whatever they have planned after arms race better be fucking good. And especially with how much you disrespected fucking Axton and Salvador. And that's one of the reasons I also want to mention before I move on is that there's also the fact of I want to bring up potential ideas for Season 2 DLCs. I think it would be really cool if we basically approach some missing elements that we're missing in Borderlands 3. Why don't we find out what happened to the girl that knows Reese? I want to find out what happened to her. Why don't we have something? That'd be freaking cool. I actually also want to know what happened to Athena and Janie Springs. I think it'd be freaking cool if we go to a planet that basically they're living on and they just want to be alone. They don't want to be involved in the Vault Hunters, and we're the reason they get back into it. I think that would be fucking cool. I also would love some more unique stories that don't always just bring back characters, but bring more arcs to characters' stories. Especially since, we had a really good DLC in 2020. So I want to mention that importance. Other than that, whatever else they have planned, I know the pandemic is going on, and that's one of the reasons I want to mention this. Do as much work as you guys can, and please don't release the DLCs until they are ready. There's a reason I'm going to bring that up, because there was one DLC that 100% was broken and is still broken, and I don't care what anybody says. I fucking hate that DLC. But you'll find out later in videos. Till then, this is Christian saying, continue being an Eon Star. I'll talk to you guys later.